just like you. Na 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 na, my center of gravity. Cause it's true. Na na na, everything they say about me. I'll love you like a supernova, burned into you like a shooting star. Always craving for you to come to me. Though this way of life, no, it ain't healthy, but ain't no other way, it's just what I need. I want all your soul, I want your body. I'm the type that licks her play clean. Don't wanna let go, wanna you can eat. If you gave me your whole life, I would still have room for more. Cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. You might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Cause I'm a black gold for your love. Your whole life, I would still have room for more. Cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. You might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough. Cause I'm a black gold for your love. Never be enough. Cause I'm a black gold for your love.
Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some wine. Oh, think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let go of the rules, cause there's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and now come alive with me and quit the jealousy. I know you're bored, I know it's boring me. Now come alive, baby, get out the grave with me. I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the Spanish Grand Prix. We are here for TTML, of course. It is Season 3, as we take in Round 3 of the Championship, of course, as we are, of course, taking the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya. My name is James. I'm going to be taking you through the stream. As always, it's not the best polished introduction I've ever done, but joining me in the comment box, as always, it is Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm not bad, thanks. Good evening to yourself, James. Good evening to everyone who is watching at the moment. Interested to see how this race goes tonight. Bahrain, last time out, is a track that we know is very straightforward to overtake on, and the alternate strategy works very well. Spain also has the alternate strategy working very well, but it's not quite the easiest to overtake on, apart from that run down into turn 1 and possibly turn 10. It is a bit of a tricky circuit, so strategy will be all the more important. And there's always a slim chance, it's not always sunny in Spain, there's always that slim chance you might get a bit of wet weather as well.
Yeah, you never know, the rain in Spain might fall mainly on the plane. I mean, that's a rhyme that I learned when I was about 5, to be honest. But there we are. What can you do? Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings to start us off with. And Medium Pilot, of course, leading the championship by 6 points coming into tonight. He's on 55 points, with Perpetuum in second on 49. Amazing Hour in third on 36, with Volbeeg in fourth on 33. Matthias in fifth on 31. Noon in 6th on 27. Then we've got Bullet Boy in 7th on 19. Lyronix, we'll talk about him later. He's been replaced by Hardy. He's in 8th along with Laser on 18 points. Verstappen rounding off the top 10. Looking down the rest of the field, Carlsbury, Kern and Dobby all tied on 16 points. Zerdimer in 14th on 13. Then we've got Combi in 15th on 12. Mashiro, Venom and Lemon. Lemon not racing tonight. They're all on 10 points. Venom's and Imad on 8 points as well. Medium Pilot has got a 6-point advantage, as I say, coming into tonight. Are we going to see that go? Are we going to see that increase or decrease around here?
Oh, that is a brave one. I think it's safe to say, from the way this season's gone so far, it's probably going to decrease slightly in qualifying, because both times Perpetuum has qualified on pole. He's actually finished second on track both times as well. He just had a penalty in race 1 that ended up dropping him behind. I reckon it's going to be close. I'd be very surprised if Perpetuum and Medium Pilot aren't very close to each other once again. Maybe we'll see Amazing Hour get back up. He obviously got involved in some turn 1 incidents as well. And there's been some other drivers that have been quick at various points, but bad luck has just cost them. Recon and Shapalele and even Bullet Boy, you could say. Some drivers that come to mind in that category. The start, qualifying is important around Spain. Statistically, it's more important than it is at the Monaco Grand Prix. More drivers win from pole position around Spain than they do at Monaco. It seems like an absolutely crazy fact, especially when you consider that long run down to turn 1 is one of the longest on the calendar. I think only Russia and Mexico are longer. So if you get a good start, a la Fernando Alonso a few times here, you can be on the second row of the grid and be first heading into turn 1.
You can be indeed. I think it's something like a 600-metre run down towards turn 1 from the actual start line down in towards turn 1, which is named as Elf Corner, and hopefully nobody is going to be getting Christmas vibes out on track with that corner name, certainly. Let's have a look then at the constructors as well. Racing Point leading on 73 points. Lando rejoining, of course, in Racing Point, taking over from Lyronix, so that's important to note. Ferrari in second on 65. Red Bull in third on 58. McLaren in fourth on 51. Then Williams in 5th on 39, Haas in 6th on 35, Alfa Romeo in 7th on 33, Renault and Mercedes, although it shows on the graphic that they're 8th and 9th, are actually tied for 8th on 18 points, and AlphaTauri in 10th on 13. Racing Point have got a 5-point advantage coming into tonight. Can they withhold, can they stand out the charge from Ferrari and behind, especially knowing that they've got Lando now in that Racing Point?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big unknown, really. How will Lando do? We haven't seen him this season. Lyronix only was there at the first race and had a very good performance, finished in 4th. And Medium Violet, we've seen already, has had a 2nd and a win. So it's all going to depend on how Lando does. Consistency from other teams seems to have been the problem. Ferrari, Perpetuum's had the 2 podiums. Carlsbury hasn't quite been up there at this moment in time. Red Bull, the first race didn't exactly go perhaps as fantastic as Matthias would have liked, but he got a podium last time out, and Noon's been fairly consistent. McLaren, Volbeeg's been fantastic with that alternate strategy. He's done it at both races so far, and he's managed to 5th and 4th, and that's why he's 4th in the championship at the moment. We sort of know how those teams are going to perform. It's how Lando's going to do in the Racing Point. Just have to wait and see.
Yeah, Lando was very consistent in League of Europe on Saturday. Albeit was around Austria where he finished 5th. So if that's anything to go by, he's in form. So hopefully he can carry on in the racing point. Before we start qualifying, of course, we have to pay tribute to the legend, the hero. That is Captain Satomu, who sadly passed away today at the age of 100. He had COVID pneumonia, which is a horrible, horrible thing to have, especially at that age. Our thoughts here in League Racing TV are with his family and his friends at this really tragic time. And just reflecting on Tom, first lockdown, he raised £32 million, just over £32 million for our NHS. He was the beacon of light in the first lockdown. And I think we can all be thankful for the sacrifice that he's made in his 100 years on Earth here. And it's sad that he's gone. And yeah.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. There's also, obviously, as well, fighting for his country in World War II, £32 million at the age of 99, probably more than all of us combined are going to raise for charity in our lifetime. So, yeah, definitely an inspirational person, and he will be sadly missed.
He will be sadly missed indeed. And we are just waiting, I think, for one more driver to join into the lobby. We are just moments away from starting. So let's have a look then at this track map in question. You'll see it more graphically interpreted within the track introduction, of course, but 33 laps awaiting these drivers out on track. C1, C2 and C3 compound, otherwise known, of course, as the soft, mediums and the hards around here. Lap distance of 4.6 kilometres in length, and it's known as the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, not the Circuit de Catalonia. Weird. They've got an agreement with Barcelona Council, I think Luke was telling me before, and yeah, a real strange partnership to have as part of a track. But we come here anyways for round 3 of the championship. How do we feel the drivers are going to get on tonight?
It's a circuit that the drivers are probably used to. We know in Formula 1, the drivers know this circuit blindfolded, and it's been a mainstay of F1. Circuit's not really changed at all since the end of the chicane in the late 2000s, so the drivers should all be used to it. It's quite high downforce levels needed. You need a lot of confidence in your car. We've already mentioned the tyre wear. Turn 3, Turn 4 and Turn 9 especially come to mind as being absolute killers on that front left tyre. It's sort of one of those tracks. I wouldn't say the drivers hate it, but there's no one who's like, "Ooh, I'm really excited to be racing around Spain today." It's just sort of, it's there on the calendar, but a bit like a lot of those circuits that can be dull in real life, they seem to produce great racing on the game.
Yeah, I think from a viewing perspective on the game, this is one of my favourite tracks to commentate over. I remember in the 24 Hours of F1 event we did back in December, that race was absolutely insane in terms of the amount of overtaking, the amount of battling out on track. I really like to compare that to tonight, what we are expecting here tonight in terms of the action out on track. It should be really good. We are waiting on Amazing Hour, I believe, to join the lobby. He might not be awake just yet. Hopefully somebody can shout at him to try and get him to awake. So we've got a full grid here. We have just got one driver that's left the lobby as well. So hopefully we're going to be seeing these guys rejoin very soon indeed. And just having a look, yeah, we're just waiting on some drivers at the minute. So I think, honestly, it's not really much we can talk about. I think we've gone through it all, to be honest.
Yeah, we've gone through quite a few things, haven't we, at the moment? I mean, what review the races we've had so far? Australia was like really close, mainly between Amazing Hour, Media Pilot and Perpetuum. We've already said Recon could have got himself involved. He had that incident with Perpetuum and got a penalty. Well, Perpetuum got a penalty, but the drivers were actually really clean last time out. There was only one incident reported to the stewards. That was given as no further action. Bullet Boy did get a warning, though, for his connection, so hopefully he's been able to sort it. It looks like Amity has managed to find his way back into the session, and hopefully Amazing Hour might wake up at some point. We do have to forgive him, of course. It is incredibly early at the moment. I can barely be bothered to get up at that time for work, never mind. Especially if he's not a fan of the Spanish Grand Prix, it's not exactly going to be too fussed if he ends up missing it.
Yeah, honestly, he's. I think it's about 6 o'clock in Australia where he lives, so I'm not surprised he's still sleeping at that time. But we are just moments away, of course, from getting going here in Spain. The Spanish Grand Prix is about to begin. Qualifying awaits. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the Spanish Grand Prix, and let me introduce you to qualifying. Welcome along, everyone, to the Spanish Grand Prix for Season 3 of the TTML League. We are here for Round 3 of the Championship as we take in the Spanish Grand Prix, as I said, for the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. 3 compounder tyres, softs, mediums and the hards are available. The C1, C2 and C3 compound, of course, the softs. Fastest, hard, long-lasting, of course, out on track. And it's going to be fantastic to see how this is all going to unfold. Myself and Luke Etheridge are taking you through the action. Let us see then what this track holds for our drivers in question. 4.6 kilometres takes them around 16 turns with the 2 DRS zones. One down the start-finish straight, one down in towards turn 10, the reconfigured turn 10 as of 2021. It is a quite elevated and changing circuit, so it's going to be fascinating to see how these guys go, and you've got to have a really, really strong setup around here if you are going to get out on track. And speaking of out on track, beautiful blue skies await our drivers here, and I can report that everyone is going to go on to set us off compounder tyres as well. So, what can we expect from qualifying, Luke?
I think we're going to expect really close qualifying action. That's what we've had so far this season. It's been ridiculously close. Something like 8-9 drivers within a quarter of a second of each other, and we've already said it can be really important. Qualifying, you want to get a good start. Also, if you're in that 7th or 8th position, you're going to be on the older soft tyres most likely for the start of the race, and you're going to be a bit of a sitting duck later on as those on the fresher mediums come through, or anyone who decides to start on the fresh soft tyres. Quite a few cars heading out on circuit at the moment. I can report to you it is beautiful weather conditions at the moment. 26 degrees air temperature, 33 degrees track temperature, so those front left tyres are going to take a bit of a hammering throughout this qualifying session.
They are going to take a bit of a hammering. I think Recon is the first out on track in the AlphaTauri, so it's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on. Of course, part of the Shazoo team. He's also joined by Mashivo in that team now, leaving TTG recently as Sunday, and he joined Shazoo in the academy. So it's going to be fascinating to see how he gets on. I think in his first competitive league race, if I'm not mistaken. Recon now coming through turn 9. He can pick up an invalidation coming through that turn. So it is, honestly, going to be really interesting to see how these guys are going to unfold out on track. We have the telemetry for you. We hopefully are going to deliver you the best commentary possible as well. So I'm going to turn everything off now, and we will ride on board with Recon for this lap of the Spanish circuit at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. 4.6 kilometres await him out on track, and we're about to go on board with him for his first lap. Let's see what the Dutchman can do out of turn 15, and then out of turn 16, as he now runs, coming through towards turn 1, and now opens up that DRS. You can see in kilometres an hour reaches about 330 when he gets down towards the braking zone towards turn 1. And he'll brake just off the 100 metre board and get the car turned in very nicely indeed. Through turn 1, and then through turn 2, and then through the fearsome right-hander of turn 3. Get caught on the curb there, can spin the car out wide, but look at the thin line that Recon is taking. And through the first sector split, it's a 21 flat from Recon. Through the first sector, 21.953 even. That's been bettered by another driver out on track. He's on a set of soft compounder tyres as he now comes towards turn 7 and 8. This fearsome chicane, of course, out on track. Let's see how he copes with this. Through turn 7, through turn 8, and now on the run up towards turn 9. Pick up an invalidation round here and you screw your lap over quite completely, but Recon looking very good as he's now coming through this middle sector split. We'll see what his middle sector is, and it's a 27.7 through the middle sector. Car to the left hand side of him there, but Recon now coming through turns 11, through turn 12, and now down and towards turn 13. There's 2 options you can take. There's the MotoGP line, or there's the Grand Prix line, which we take, the chicane, of course, through 14, and then through 15, and then coming out towards turn 16 out on track. And this is a lap on board with Recon over and done with. And we'll see what his lap time is running to the line, and I think it's a 1:14.2 out on track from Recon. Goes to the top of the timings.
Yeah, very, very clean lap from Recon. Maybe could have pushed it a bit harder through the first sector, understandably. Just keeping it a bit clean at the moment. Bullet Boy doing well, actually, with a 1:15.1 on the medium tyres. Betcham, though, instantly going to the top of the time charts with a 1:14.1. This track, a lot of it is about having confidence when you're riding the curbs, especially through that first sector. You need to run as wide as you dare through turn 3 and also turn in while you're still on the curb for turn 4, which if you've got the setup slightly awkward, maybe running the car a bit low, that final sector is another part of the track where this is the case. You run over the bumps and the curbs, it really unsettles the car and you can lose a lot of time.
can lose a lot of time. And I think we saw that with Carlsbury. He was purple out of everyone in the first sector. Mashiro now purple out of everyone in the first sector, went third with his lap time, so a very good lap there from him. Let's just try and pick up on board with one of our new drivers. Hardy, of course, in the Mercedes is the reserve, and now coming through turn 12. Let's see how he can cope with the undulations coming through this final sector. Through 13, they do 14 and 15. Venoms went 4th, Noonan 5th, by the way, 114.3s for them both. As now Hardy comes out the final corner. Let's see what this lap time is going to be from Hardy. It hasn't looked like a quick lap so far, but Hardy comes across the line to go into 8th position. Not a bad lap there at all from Hardy. Obviously, he's reconfigured his telemetry wrong, I think, but he's known as Player 10, and he's gone 8th with a 114.697.
Yeah, it's not a bad lap whatsoever. Medium Pilot then, winner of the last race. Let's see what he can do as he comes towards the line now. Only 13th for Medium Pilot. I wonder if he was just saving himself for another lap or if he made a mistake anywhere. But just looking at the times, he's a long way down in Sector 1. So maybe just not running any ERS and deciding either to bail on the lap really early or just getting a bit more confidence with the circuit. Who knows?
Honestly, I think it's more of a banker lap from him, to be honest. I saw his first sector, 21.6. He had no ERS usage on that lap at all. So Medium Pilot just wanting to get a banker in. He'll probably come back into the pit lane, and then he'll go for his run towards the 9-minute mark, I would think, on track. Dobby is now coming through the final couple of corners, and now he's coming through turn 16. And now, let's see what his lap time is going to be. Dobby across the line. He goes 6th, 114.3. Nice lap there. Look at the amount of drivers. That's in a 114.3. Mashiro, Venoms, Noon, Dobby, and Volby. 3rd down to 7th, covered by 900ths of a second. That is pretty good going around here.
We said it was going to be pretty close. We did warn you all. If you want to get some more information about other drivers, you can use the Taz system, of course. ! Help in the chat to get all your different ideas. Going from those first laps, though, I'm really obviously impressed by Perpetuum, but Laser setting his fastest time on the medium tyres, only 7/7 of a second behind Perpetuum, suggests that the McLaren driver is really quick around here. Could be one to watch on his soft tyre run.
Yeah, 114.8. He's only 0.2 of a second really off Hardy, so it's not a bad lap there at all. From the McLaren man in 11th, Bullet Boy in 12th. I'm on board with Verstappen, who's coming through this final sector. I think he's got Lando just in front of him out on track. Well, there's a Haas in fact out on track, which is Bullet Boy in an outlap. Let's see what Verstappen can do, though, through this middle sector. Through the middle sector is a 27.8, so he's there or thereabouts, I think, in that middle sector range. He now comes through Bank Sabadell at turn 12 and then through turn 13. Just missed the apex slightly through there. And now comes through the chicane of 14 and 15. And then towards 16, Bullet Boy, I think, is back into the pit lane then. In fact, it's Dobby that came into the pit lane. So I'm getting my Hasses mixed up already. Verstappen to the line. Goes 8th with a 114.4. And he's only 0.03 of a second off Volby. And quicker than his teammate by exactly 0.2 of a second.
Yes, not a bad lap so far there from Verstappen. In fact, both Alfa Romeos have so far had one really good race and one race where it hasn't gone well for them. Cornblage 15th in Australia, 9th in Bahrain, whereas Verstappen was 8th in Australia and also getting involved in that lap 1 incident at Bahrain, could only finish in 15th. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they do at the moment. They're in 8th and 10th at the moment. I'm sure they'll want to either drop down slightly to get a chance to start on the medium or the hard tyres, or bump themselves further up into the top 10.
Bullet Boy with a bit of a revving out glitch on our end, but a 115.1 currently for him standing 14th. Through the first sector, 20.9. He's on a set of soft compounded tyres, so inevitably be trying to improve by about a second on this lap. Let's see what he can do as we ride on board now, coming through turn 7 and then through turn 8 and then up the hill in towards turn 9. Let's not go on board with him, in fact, because that revving out glitch is causing me a whole lot of problems. As now Bullet Boy comes out of turn 9, let's see what he can do. Coming into this middle sector, split at 27.7, so he's there or thereabouts. Of course, Bullet Boy was well up in qualifying last time out, of course, in Bahrain, and be hoping to try and replicate that here tonight. He's 14th currently, and now coming down towards turn 13, winning car number 49, of course, out on track. Perpetuum on top, Recon second, Mashiro in third. The two Shizus challenging Perpetuum for pole currently. The Bullet Boy now around the final corner, comes across the line, and he improves up to third. Really good lap there from Bullet Boy, puts him in the mix.
Yeah, great lap from him to get himself up the order. He'll be impressed with that. Perpetuum, you might have seen a very brief yellow flag there. Perpetuum did spin out coming out of turn 2, so he won't be improving on this lap. He'll just be heading straight back to the pits because those tyres, we've said already, it's quite high tyre wear. You can't get away with doing a second lap. And it looks like we've had a Mercedes, I think that's just XL Hardy, going really slow, obviously to let the cars by. And it is It's one of the shortest tracks on the calendar, amazing, with the Circuit de Catalunya. 66 laps in a full distance race, so 33 laps here, less than 3 miles. When you've got a full grid of cars, or a near full grid, it's pretty hard to find some space.
It's really hard to find some space, especially with 19 cars, as you say, out on track. We just see a Haas getting out of the way, which I think is Dobby on an outlap. But Mashiro, fourth currently. Laser goes to the top of the timings with the 114 flat. Good lap there from Laser. Just looking at his middle sector, he was fastest in the middle sector, 27.6. The rest of his lap, though, he was not personal besting throughout that lap. So that middle sector really, really hit it. Let's see what Mashiro was doing. He was fastest in the first sector. Let's see what he's like in the middle sector. And through the middle sector, in fact, I think he's invalidated on this lap. So Mashiro's invalidated out on this lap, and currently with fifth, 114.307. I noticed as well, Recon, on his lap, he improved by about a tenth of a second ahead of Perpetum, and he's taken the wrong course there.
Yeah, I think just trying to get out of the way as quickly as possible in qualifying. You see it happen quite a lot at Monaco as well. That's another circuit where drivers just cut the chicane just to make sure. It's really frowned upon if you sort of do it to try and skip your way back to the pit lane, but it's okay if you're doing it just to get out of the way of another car and make sure you're not holding anyone up.
Sorry to cut in. Volby just ran massively wide coming through turn 9. Had a bit of a half spin going through the corner, corrected it, but went into the gravel. And he's not improving, 114.3. Sorry, Luke.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was just on board with XL Hardy there. He was looking a bit quicker than he was earlier on. Not really threatening any times at the top of the moment, but as he's a reserve driver, might not have been expected to be in that early on at the moment. So just trying to improve, just trying to see what he can do throughout the session. It is again still really close. With personal best in the first two sectors, you'll expect him to move up the order. He does move up only by one place, though, ahead of his XL teammate Lando. So Hardy now in 14th, Lando down into 15th. I wonder if we're going to see Shapalele, Imadi and Carlsbury head out onto a set of the soft tyres then at any point.
Well, a man that is on a set of soft Commentators medium pilot. He's in 18th currently, 115.7. Let's see what this lap is going to be like as he now runs through the first sector split. And through the first sector split, it's a 20.9, so it's not that quick through the first sector from medium pilot. And now swings through turn 6 and towards turn 7 and turn 8. Let's see what he can do now out on track. He now comes through turn 7. Then through turn 8 and up the hill in towards turn 9. And we'll see with this camera shot of a rear wing coming through turn 9. That is a terrible camera shot as he now runs towards turn 10. The DRS wing opening, of course. Through the middle sector, fastest out of everyone, 27.5. I really hope we can try and sort out the cameras. There we are. Now coming through turn 11. Now through turn 12. And then down the hill and towards 13. Really undulating track this as he now comes through 14 and then through 15. He's backed off through the chicane. I thought he invalidated there slightly, but he hasn't. He's gone through the final corner, and he's backing out. I don't think he wants a top 10 position here. And he goes 15th, 114.577. I don't think medium pilot wants the top 10 at all.
It's a brave strategy. If you pull it off, it's a fantastic strategy. But I've said it sometimes before, there's a fine line between bravery and stupidity. It's all about going for this alternate strategy. You've got to try and make sure you don't get caught up in any lap 1 incidents. We saw with Amazing Hour last time around, just getting caught up with it, the concertina effect in the midfield. Perpetuum, though, he is improving. He's a couple of attempts up through the middle sector. We could see our first driver get into the 1 minute 13s here. The Ferrari 113.881, 5 minutes 15 seconds to go. Perpetuum looking good for 3 pole positions in a row.
3 pole positions, that'll be 6 points added to his tally, pretty much, and it will close the gap to 4 points in the live standings coming into tonight. But Perpetuum out on top, Laser second, Recon there in third. Recon is just preparing up over lap, so let me ride on board with you coming through turn 16. We'll ride on board with this from the broadcast cam, coming down now in towards turn 1. Let's see what Recon can do. Currently third, a 114.173. It's very difficult to try and improve lap upon lap around this track. So Recon will be hoping to try and do that as he now comes through turns 1, 2, then through 3, and then towards the first sector split. And it's looking quite good through the first sector so far from Recon in comparison to the likes of Cohen, who's went quickest. Now Recon has gone quickest with the one at 20.8 through the first sector. So Recon now flying on this lap. Let's see what he can do as he now runs wide, coming out of turn 6, then through towards turn 7 and 8, which are upcoming now. He hits the apex very nicely indeed through turn 8 and then up the hill slightly in towards turn 9. Pretty undulating track this, given that it is quite flat in the first sector as Recon now runs down in towards 316 kilometers an hour, reach down in towards turn 10. 27.6, so he's there or thereabouts as he now comes through turn 11 and then through turn 12. There's a racing point getting out to the left-hand side. That's Lando out on track, who I think is down on his lap. Recon now coming through 13, then through 14. Let's see what the Dutchman can do. Then through 15. And then through 16, I would have expected him to come into the pit lane to try and get 2 laps in, to be honest, but Recon must feel it's a good lap. Is it a good enough lap? It is. It's a 1:13.994, and he goes up into second.
Yeah, just losing a bit of time in that middle sector compared to Perpetuum, fastest of everyone in Sector 1 and Sector 3, but won't really have time now to find an improvement, so I imagine that'll be Recon's qualifying over. Coen Blige was looking pretty fast until that final chicane. He made a slight mistake, which conveniently sent him drifting towards the pit lane, and he decided to head that way anyway, get a fresh set of tyres on. Venom has just gone up into 10th place, knocking Volby down into that 11th that he seems to love so far this season.
Look at how many drivers are now in a 1:14.3. The 7 drivers within a 1:14.3. Mashiro, Venoms, Coen, Noon, Dobby, Venom, and now Volbeek as well. And Venoms and Kuhn have set the same lap time out on track, a 1:14.340. So if that's how tight it is out on track, goodness knows what it's going to be like in the race. Matthias now coming through turn 7 and 8. He's had really good run of form recently. Of course, a 3rd place, I believe, in Bahrain last time out, and I'll be hoping to try and make that stick here in Spain. He now comes down in towards turn 10. Let's see what his middle sector is like. It was a 21 flat through the first sector, 27.5 through the middle sector. So Matthias is on a really good lap here. Let's see if we can try and mix it with Laser, Bullet Boy, that sort of region possibly. Perpetuum still out on top. Recon second, Laser in third. Now through 13, then running down towards 14. Recon's either retired in the pit or has crashed out on track as now Matthias comes through 15. And then out of 16, let's see what the Austrian can do. Runs to the line now. And across the line, he goes 4th, 1:14.1. Good lap, and he filled in exactly where I predicted him to.
He must have absolutely nailed that final sector because he was down on his personal best heading through Sector 2. So around about a quarter of a second there. Suggests he had a lot more confidence maybe in the chicane last time around. We've got most of the cars now heading out on track on their final laps, and Medium Pilot and Chapalele are both on a set of the medium tyres. That is nailing their flag to the mast of we're going for the alternate strategy. But given how close this field is, I'd be very surprised if Medium Pilot could get any higher than where he is now. Chapalele might improve by a couple of attempts. Is this alternate strategy going to be worth it if you're starting down in 15th, 16th, 17th position?
Oh, Laser's hit traffic. Laser's on the lap. He's hit traffic. The 2 Ferraris getting out of the way, coming down in towards turn 6, and he's spun the car, and he's crashed out the session. Laser has retired out the session. He got hammered by the traffic there. The 2 Ferraris. I'm not sure who it was, just in front of him. But now, unfortunately for him out on track, he's out of the session when looking good through the first sector. That is such a shame. But that means Matthias is the closest person to try and improve on a lap. Mashiro can try and improve, and he's down on a lap coming through turn 9.
Yeah, Machiro's improving at the moment as he's heading through Sector 1. Let's see what his time is into Sector 2. He's just over a 10th up at the moment. So can Mashiro get himself into that top 4? Again, it's going to have to be a mighty final few corners here to get another lap. Bullet Boy's just get ahead of him on an outlap at the moment, but he won't catch him up unless Bullet Boy decides he quickly needs a bit of space. Nice and clean through that final chicane. Maybe just a touch wide on the exit through 15. Let's see what can the AlphaTauri driver do. He goes up into 3rd position, 1:14.035, pushes Laser down into 4th. Verstappen getting up into 5th place. He's now got an identical time to Venom, who goes into 6th. No matter what Venom's does, he sets identical times with the Alfa Romeo drivers, it seems.
Medium Pilot goes 9th as well, not improving there. He's on a set of medium compounded tyres as well. So that is absolutely remarkable for Medium Pilot at 1:14.3 to get him into 9th position on a set of mediums. Let's see what Perpetuum is doing out on track. He's through the end of the first sector. There's other drivers, of course, going to improve. I think Imadi, Carlsbury have invalidated their lap times as well, just to pick up on them further down the field. But Perpetuum now is the man to watch. Mashiro cannot improve because I don't think he can improve on a lap time. Let's see what the German can do on this lap as Dobby goes up into 5th, just 6 thousandths ahead of Verstappen. Good lap from him. Noon replaces him though for 5th, 1:14 flat. Everyone seems to like that 5th position, I think, out on track. Could it be the lucky number? Who knows? Matthias, I think, went 9th. Hardy improved up to 11th as well. So medium pilot definitely stopping outside of the top 12. He's just been overtaken by his own teammate Lando as well. How's Perpetuum looking on this lap? It was the fastest middle sector out of everyone. 27.5. Bullet Boy comes into second. Well, the 113.92 Z was only 400th up, but he think that Perpetuum's going to improve, and he does. It's a 113.799, and that is your pole lap right there. I don't think anybody else is on a lap. A 6 from Wolbeig now coming across the line to go 11th. Everyone else has done. It's Perpetuum on top, Bullet Boy in second, and Recon in third position. Perpetuum nearly a 10th clear of Bullet Boy.
Yes, given how close it is across the entire field, you've got to say that it's a gigantic gap at the top of the field. And remember those times where 1 minute 14.3 was good enough to be in 4th position? XL Hardy on a 1:14.309 could only get himself 12th. Medium Pilot 14th in the end, though it suggests he's got a lot of pace in that car. If he can pull out a 1:14.3 on a set of the medium tyres, he's going to be one to watch. Just needs to be careful that he doesn't get involved in any lap 1 shenanigans, and might need to just keep it patient in the early stages.
Looking at medium pilot's lap time compared to Perpetuum, he was only 700ths of a second off through his first sector on a set of mediums compared to Perpetuum, but it's Perpetuum out on top in qualifying, but Bullet Boy in second, Recon in third, Mashiro in fourth, Laser in fifth, Noon in sixth, Dobby 7th, Verstappen and Venom's both time, but Verstappen said that earlier. He gets 8th from Venom's in 9th, Matthias in 10th. Wolbeig in 11th, with Hardy 12th, Lando 13th, Medium Pilot only 5.5 tenths off pole on a set of mediums in 14th. Cohen in 15th, with Venom in 16th. Crosby 17th, top 17 are separated by just less than 6.5 tenths of a second. Typical Spain around here. Chapelletti in 18th, and Imadi starting in 19th position. You would imagine that everyone from Wolbeig downwards will start on a set of medium compound of tyres. Of course, these are the T2 compound of tyres that are on track tonight. Let's see, well, what this track is going to unfold once again. 33 laps awaiting these guys out on track, around a 4.6 kilometre circuit. C1, C2 and C3 compound of tyres, as I've just said, and it's known as the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. And did you know, in 2012, Pastor Maldonado picked up his only race win around here. I think it's a stat that every F1 driver likes him for, because he was known as Crash de Maldonado otherwise.
I think it showed what everyone knew about Pastor Maldonado, that on his day, he was a damn good driver. That Williams was a fantastic car as well. You do wonder if they maybe had someone a bit quicker than Bruno Senna and someone a bit more consistent than Pastor Maldonado, what they could have done that season. And let's not forget there was that horrific fire in the Williams garage after the race. And who'd have thought that would be the last Williams win? In fact, the only win Williams have had in the last 16 years. Crazy to think about that. All the drivers, though, now they'll be thinking about their own performances, what strategies to go on. Perpetuum's got to be hoping he can finally convert a pole position this season into a victory.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, I think, to see how this is all going to unfold. And Perpetuum is about to start us off on this formation lap, which gives me a good idea to take you through once again the standings and remind you of the standings to the left-hand side. Medium Pilot on top on 55 points. Perpetuum now on 51 in second. He's on 49, of course, coming into tonight. Amazing Hour in third on 36. He's not here. Bulbeek fourth on 33. Then Matthias, Noon, Bullet Boy, Lyronix, Laser, and Verstappen all the way down to 10th. Carlsby, Cohen, Dobby, Zerdimer, Combi, Mashiro, Venom, Lemon, Venoms, and Imadi, filling out your top 20 drivers out on track. Some of them, of course, I think will score more points than often. But let's get back to the tyre strategy and let's see what these tyres are going to unfold for us out on track. Bit of a mix-up, to be honest, in the strategies, which I'm not really expecting, as I don't know why I'm putting the telemetry and the lap data on. Top 11, most of the guys going for a set of mediums, but there's a few there, Cohen especially, on a set of softs.
That's a brave strategy by Cohen. He's really got to try and get past the cars as soon as possible. Use the grip of those soft tyres from starting, we said it's 600 plus metres to the start, as he nearly gets it wrong on the formation lap there. It's a lot further for him, obviously, down in 15th on the grid. You could probably add another about 100 metres to that, so he's got to get a fantastic start on those soft tyres and use the grip. He doesn't want to get stuck in any DRS trains behind Volbeek, Hardy, Lando and Medium Pilot. And it's also interesting that Medium Pilot, Chapelletti and Imadi have gone for a set of the hard tyres, so they're planning to go really long early on, and maybe, just maybe, if they're careful on the tyres, be able to put a set of softs on towards the end.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating, I think, to see how this race is all going to unfold. We'll be monitoring for damage, we'll be monitoring for the tyre pressures as well. Could be punctures towards the end of the race, who knows? What can we expect here in Spain? I'll come over to you, Luke, for your top 3.
I think Perpetuum is going to take the victory today. I think Recon, actually, is going to get second place, and I am going to go for Volby to work his way onto the podium.
Do you know what? I don't normally do this, but I'm going to predict the top 3 as well into Division 1. I'm going to go Perpetuum for the win, Recon for second, but I think Medium Pilot's going to finish third from 14th on the grid. Watch out for him, watch out for Cohen as well, in behind on that set of soft compounded tyres. The final cars are just joining onto the grid, and we are about to get going here for 33 laps of Division 1 action, and the 5 red lights are about to go out here for round 3 of the championship in TTML Division 1. And it's lights down, away we go. Quicker stop by Bullet Boy. Is he going to get Perpetuum down in towards turn 1? Perpetuum's had a really good second phase of the start, though, when he's pulled away by nearly 0.3 of a second going down in towards turn 1. Bullet Boy's got to be under pressure as well from Recon and Machine 1 behind. There's a little bit of contact later, and Venom coming into a little bit of contact through turn 1. Safety, everyone goes. There's been a little bit of drop down from Cohen. Cohen, I think, has been caught up in a collision with Venom, possibly further down the field, but it's Perpetuum who leads through the first sector, and there's a racing point that's round in the back, and that's Lando on his debut. Lando has ran in his debut in the first full-time seat. He is round coming through turn 3. I think he's recovered the car, in fact, which I'm glad to see. Perpetuum though leads coming through towards the middle sector, and halfway through the lap coming through turn 7 and 8. Perpetuum leads, Bullet Boy in second, Recon third, then Machine Run fourth, Venom's in fifth. The side-by-side action further down the field. Matthias and Verstappen are going side-by-side up towards turn 9. You do not want to go around the outside of here. He judges it to perfection, Verstappen, and he backs out Matthias in behind. A little bit of a wayward one from Imad there in the background as well, coming down into the first sector, coming through turn 10. Perpetuum leads, Bullet Boy second, Recon and third is Medium Pilot's making ground up to 12th.
Yes, I think it was actually Medium Pilot and Venom had a bit of contact, and then in a separate incident, as Dobby has ran very wide there, coming out of, I think out of turn 13, so he's now down into 17th place. He is able to continue. But Medium Pilot and Venom had a bit of contact, no damage done though on the racing point, and then Cohen Blige was involved in his own separate incident, I think very similar in the background as well. We'll have to see how this race goes. I'm just going to have a quick check on the damage. No one has any damage at the moment. Dobby, though, clearly not enjoying those soft tyres, getting rid of them as soon as possible, and he's retired from the session. That is very disappointing to see from Dobby, unfortunately, out of the session already without any damage, just whether he's had any wheel problems or something, or pad problems, because it really did look as though he was struggling on that first lap when I was watching from on board Medium Pilot. He's got his way through, doing well on the hards at the moment. Volbeek, the lead car on the mediums. These are going to be the ones to watch.
They are going to be the ones to watch indeed. Let's have a look then at the position changes from lap 1. We are on lap 2, by the way. Perpetuum leads by 0.6 of a second. 4 gains for Venom's up to 5th from 9th position on the grid. 5 gains as well from Carlsbury. He's up from 17th up to 12th, so good start from him. Down in the Ferrari, in the Tifosi car, of course, so the other Tifosi leading the way. We're on board with Perpetuum as he now comes up the hill. Predicted pit stop strategy randomly comes up. I don't know why. Lap 6 to 8, lap 20 to 22 is a 2-stop strategy around here. 2 stop quicker than the 1 stop around here, Luke?
If you're the leader, I think you're always going to try and do the 1-stop strategy. If you're like me in the midfield and you're forced onto the 2-stop, you're going to do it because you might just have a bit more fun, even if it's not necessarily the quickest strategy. A lot might depend on safety cars, though. If we get a safety car, I reckon these that are on the soft tyres now, if let's say we get a safety car around about lap 19 or 20, you'll probably see everyone dive into the pits for a set of mediums towards the end of the race. If they have got some fresh pairs of mediums, of course, it all depends on what's going to happen. Everyone seems to be keeping it fairly clean, though, so far, as Lando and Imad are battling side by side here through turn 3.
I think Lando's got him. Has Lando got him on the inside in towards turn 4? He has. Brilliant stuff by the Brit. Recovering well after that slight moment coming out of turn 3. Lando was through, and he's into 15th position. They were going side by side. He was so late on the brakes, I didn't even spot him until halfway through turn 1. Recon's just picked up a first 3-second time penalty of the night. But Lando, up into 15th position, makes light work of Imad, and he's trying to make his way through the field, of course, on that set of medium compounded tyres. They're trying to bob further up the field. Matthias trying to get onto the back of Verstappen. Everyone in a bit of a DRS train, typically, which I think is going to preempt us to say we're not going to see any overtakes currently out on track because of this happening. But Perpetuum leads by 1 second. When are we going to see the pit stops being made, though? I think maybe from even next lap, possibly we could see the early pit stops being made by the guys on the set of softs.
Yes, definitely, especially if you're going for the two-stop strategy and you're a bit further down in that back of the pack. So Matthias, for example, Verstappen, Laser, you're just getting held up at the moment. There's plenty of free air for you to chuck on a set of mediums, get out there, set some quick lap times, then hopefully you'll still be in free air later on to put on another set of mediums at the end of the race. It's going to be fascinating to see what everyone does. These DRS trains, though, are good news for everyone who started outside the top 10 and went for the alternate strategy. Volberg and Medium Pilot will be very happy just to keep with these guys ahead of them for now, wait until their tyres come into their own, and then start to make some moves later in the race.
Honestly, I think Volberg might be quicker than Matthias already. Matthias looks all over the back of Verstappen as well, so this could just continue up, maybe into a three-way battle for 8. Everyone else just getting away. There's a little bit of gap in between Venoms and Noon, so it's about 9/10. He's broken out of that dirty air range. Volbeek, though, trying to get onto the back. Carsby running wide there, coming through turn 9. He picks up a 3-second time penalty out on track, but it is still Papetum who leads the way from Bullet Boy in second, Recon third, Machiro fourth, Venoms in fifth on lap 4 of this race. Volbeek trying to go around the outside through Bank Sabadell at turn 12, but now runs down and towards turn 13, and he's right on the back of Matthias. Are we going to see any pit stops from the guys in front? Don't think we are. Nobody has came into the pit lane just yet. Onto lap 5 we go. Papetum still leading by a second. Bullet Boy in second, Recon in third. The gaps up front are quite evenly matched, to be honest, between first, second and third. And then you've got a whole train, essentially, spanning from Bullet Boy all the way downwards to pretty much Ahmed D, who's in 16th position.
Yes, it's slightly more spread out at front, which means obviously Papetum, Bullet Boy and let's say Recon aren't really suffering from the dirty air effect as much as those behind. At about half a tenth of a second, Machiro, Venoms, Noon, Laser, Verstappen, that entire train, they'll be getting a nice little boost of DRS off them. They'll get a nice boost of slipstream, but they will probably be cooking their tyres a bit more than they would like to. So perhaps it won't be surprising to see one of those cars from Machiro to Matthias being the first ones to come into the pits. Maybe even Cohen Blige as well, because he's got to try something different now, down in 17th place. He's got the free air that he'd have wanted on those soft tyres. Sure, he'd have been hoping to be a bit further up the order, though.
He did say cooking, by the way, in commentary. Don't think of it as something else, which people might have been in the chat. There we are. I just thought I'd correct you there. Thick northern accents here going on in the commentary box tonight. Hardy in 13th, one ball with him running down on Carsby. He was quite close, actually, into the back of turn 5 and turn 6. But, speaking of close enough, Venoms might be close enough on the back of Carsby. I'll just work my way up as he's now 4.5 tenths away as I come to him. Laser, though, has got a tremendous run on Noon. Is he going to be the first overtake of the night? No, he downs his ERS and now downs it and doesn't go for the move. So Noon in 6th, Laser still in 7th. Not really much going on, to be honest. Just grab a cup of tea or something at this point.
Yeah, it's been very Spanish Grand Prix at the moment, I'm afraid to say, unfortunately. You saw their Laser, he thought about going for the move, pulled out of the slipstream. I wonder if that's just to cool his tyres and cool his engine down as well. If you're running in Rich Mix, in these conditions, in this close traffic, again, we're in the mid to high 20 degrees Celsius air temperature, those engines are going to be getting pretty hot and you won't be able to use all the performance if you just start getting a bit too hot. So it's worth just pulling out of the slipstream, cooling things down, and you might be able to have a go later on. But the dirty air, we know they made it more realistic on this game, and this is why you see more of this. Everyone just line astern, not able to get close enough to go for an overtake.
Well, as well, Laser's got 61% worn tyres now on the front left, which is really damaging his performance, I think. Venoms is quite similar to that as well, 56% for him. Bullet Boy in second is really losing. In fact, he's into the pit lane. So Bullet Boy into the pit lane. You can see on the front left, just behind the the graphics on the left-hand side, that tyre is really blistering. His pit window is now open. He will go onto a set of hard compounded tyres, maybe for a two-stop strategy to go onto a set of softs towards the end of the race, but we'll watch this pit stop and monitor it very, very carefully indeed. Carsby's right on the back of Medium Pilot running down in towards turn 1 as well. Bullet Boy goes on to that set of hard compounded tyres. Venom's also in, and he's put on a set of mediums.
Well, they've nailed their flags to the mast. Bullet Boy going for a one-stop ideally. He can change to a two-stop. Venoms has to get onto the two-stop here and needs to catch Bullet Boy and pass him as quickly as possible if he's going to make this strategy work. He's going to be one to watch out for. Machiro now dropping a bit further back behind his teammate, and Noon is behind Machiro as well. Volbeek and Medium Pilot 8th and 9th place. Carsby, Hardy, Chapalele, Lando, Imadi, Venom all on this alternate strategy. All might be feeling pretty good at the moment. Volbeek just ran a bit wide there though, heading into turn 9, so it wouldn't surprise me if that has earned him a warning. He wants to be careful with how close the field is not to pick up any warnings really. Carsby and Recon have already got a couple of well, I've already got some penalties. I think we'll see a few more get them, especially as the tyres start to wear.
Yeah, Volbeek's all over the back of Matthias. Just before that point, he was looking quicker than Matthias on that lap. Let's see, though, if the leaders are going to come into the pit then. Yeah, Mashiro was into the pits. Later is also in, as well as Matthias. So both of them, all three of them are in, as well as somebody else. Matthias Verstappen is the other one that is into the pit lane. So Mashiro into the pits. Let's watch on board with his lap time. In fact, we'll not run on board because Lando is on the back of Schiaparelli, running down in towards turn 1. He's trying to commit it down in towards turn 1. Bit of a late lunge. He tried to have a go, but Williams still there in 8th position. Lando's still there in 9th as we ride on board with him now. Coming out of turn 3 and then towards turn 4, Papetum still out in front, Recon 2nd, Noonan 3rd. That is not my connection, by the way. That is Lando's connection, just lagging slightly. Schiaparelli, though, still fending him off for now.
Yeah, he'll be hoping for a good race. He was looking pretty good last time until he had a bit of a inexplicable spin coming through turn 11 at the Bahrain Grand Prix, which dropped him a long way down the order. Still picked up a couple of points, and he is obviously Williams' only hope of getting points today, with amazing how we're not able to make it. But while you were on board with Lando, we did see a perfect demonstration of the dirty air. He was so quick through turns 1 and 2, and then just washes out wide through turn 3, lost all that momentum, and therefore had no chance of going for a move into turn 4. I do wonder, if you are in this train, is it worth just concentrating on maybe staying close into turn 4, possibly having a move into that hairpin at the bottom of hill at turn 5, because there is no DRS there. It's just worth trying something different, as our top 2 cars have now come into the pit. So XL Noon takes the lead of the race, the only front runner still on those soft tyres.
He's gone on to that set of soft combatant tyres onto 9 laps now, and looking at his tyre range, it's about 70-odd% worn currently out on track for him. Papetum into the pit, and he goes on to a set of hard compounded tyres, and he rejoins pretty much in clear out. Or does he? Because there's Bullet Boy going to go side by side with him. Turn in towards turn 1, and Bullet Boy's got the net race lead. Bullet Boy has done the undercut to perfection, and Bullet Boy now through, and he's into the net lead of the race.
Yes, he is into the lead of the race. He's already heading at about 5-6% tyre wear, though. That's not a problem now. It will be a problem when you start getting into the mid to high 70s at the end of the race, so we'll have to see how he does. Noon was doing a better job than everyone else on his tyres, and this could just be crucial later on in the race. It's almost certain that he'll be going on to that one-stop strategy, and out of those that did start on the softs, it's only Matthias and Venoms that have gone onto the mediums, nailing their flag to the 2-stop mast, and they're both stuck in traffic at the moment and might find it really awkward to make this work.
They're going to find it really hard to make this work, I think, of course, out on track, and Noon should be coming into the pit lane probably on this lap. Look at the training behind him. He may as well just come into the pit lane now. He dives out of the way. Now Volbeek will lead the way, but that gives Medium Pilot a really good run out of the final corner. Let's run on board with the racing point, see if we can try and close down on the leader. But no, Noon, I think, will go on to set a hard compounded tyres. Further down the field as well, Benham's trying to make ground on Papetum. These guys, I'm just trying to find them. Have I scrolled past them? No, there's Papetum. And he's now 7.5 tenths off. Venom's right on the back of him, though. And here comes the Mercedes on the back of the Ferrari. It's like old-school Formula 1. Running down in towards someone. And Papetum just lets him on by. Venom's is through, and he's into 2nd position. He's on a set of medium compounded tyres, but that lock-up is really going to harm his chances to try and get those tyres on to the end of this race, at least for a set of soft compounded tyres towards the end.
Yeah, I think Papetum realised he was on a set of the mediums and just thought it's not worth fighting. At this point in the time, I've got bigger battles to fight. We saw Venoms go for this alternate strategy last time around in Bahrain, and it didn't. Still managed to pick up some points, but I don't think it worked quite as well as he'd have wanted, only finishing in 12th position. So we'll have to see if it works tonight. With how close the field is, though, he needs to get past Bullet Boy pretty quickly. Used a lot of ERS last time around. Bullet Boy currently has about 30% more, and that might be enough to just negate the difference that the DRS makes. Now that Media Pilot, though, is behind Volbeek, and now that Volbeek has not got the DRS heading back towards the front of the race, might see the Racing Point start to think about making a move.
Yeah, the Racing Point, indeed, I think will be trying to make a move. That's Volbeek, of course. Lando's on the back of Hardy as well, so he's looking quite close. But Venoms is our main focus point at this stage. In fact, we're going to go on board with Medium Pilot. No, we're not. Venom's now running on the back of Bullet Boy, but he's not close enough for a move, surely, down in towards turn 1. He's 7 tenths away. He's saving up his ERS and not even actually gaining on Bullet Boy until right at the end of the straight. Matthias is now through on Noon. He is through and he's up into 14th, so probably a lap by there by Noon. So Matthias on a quicker strategy, on the alternate strategy with a 3-second time penalty. He's now through and he's up into 14th position. Myself and Luke Etheridge, of course, taking you through the action. And it's that man there, Volbeek, leading the way from Medium Pilot in second. And Medium Pilot just sitting, waiting in behind. Is he going to try and get onto a set of mediums, do you think, towards the end of the race? Or is he going to try and risk it and go for a set of softs? Because these softs do not last long around here.
No, he's on about 40% tyre wear at this moment in time. So you've got to say at this rate, he's going to be at 80% on lap 22. That's risking it. Then do you want to put 11 laps onto the set of soft tyres? We've seen that Noon manage 9 laps, but he was the only one to really get them that far. So it's possible that you could get him onto the set of soft tyres, but he's been stuck in traffic all race and maybe just worn out these hards a bit too much. I think the safer bet is just to go for the medium tyres, and you can see how much traffic affects them. Lando coming in after only 11 laps on that set of mediums.
Yeah, Lando into the pit lane. He's on 45% worn tyres, so it's not actually that bad for him to go around out on track, but I think if he wants to try and get out of that gap, or out of that battle later on in this race. So that's not a bad strategy actually by Lando. He goes on to set a hard compounded tyres. Can he make 20 laps essentially out on track? Venoms, by the way, is through on Bullet Boy from that lead of the race, and just in front of the camera shot there, Laser trying to move there on Noon, but not quite close enough. It's still Volbeek out of Medium Pilot second, Carlsbury third, Chapelletti fourth, Hardy in 5th position. So we are on lap 12 out of 33.
Yes, further back for those that have pitted now. Interestingly, Machiro, the undercut worked for him as well. He's got ahead of Recon, so he's going to be trying now to get himself onto the back of Perpetuum. He's just outside of DRS range now. It's amazing to think that AlphaTauri are bottom of the Constructors' Championship at this moment in time. We know Machiro on Recon are two incredibly quick drivers. It just hasn't worked out for one reason or another, and it looks like they're finally maybe going to get the result that their pace deserves. Back towards the lead, Medium Pilot, he just can't get close enough to get ahead of Volbeek at the moment. I don't know whether that's because he's stuck in the dirty air or that he's not really trying. Looking at how much ERS he's got, over 90%, I'd say it's the latter.
Somebody that is trying though is Chapelletti. He's through on Carlsbury for 3rd position. Good move there. Down in towards turn 1. Got it signed, sealed and delivered down the inside, and he got the move done through turn 1. And he's through and he's up into 3rd position. So the German making up good ground. Hardy is the latest to come into the pit lane. He's on now. Just had a hard compounded tyres, appropriately with his name. And now he comes in to try and get toward the likes of Lando coming out of the pit lane. I think he's just going to rejoin him behind. In fact, out on track, yeah, he's going to rejoin probably about 7 tenths, 8 tenths off as he comes through turns 1 and 2 once again. Hardy there, 17th, Cohen and 18th. Not really going his way at all. He's way down the field, but Volbeek leading the way. Medium Pilot in second. The Sun's still trying to break through here. Well, it is breaking through. It's certainly beginning to clear up slightly. So Volbeek leading. Medium Pilot second. Chapelletti in third. Looking further down the field. Bullet Boys 8 tenths away on Venom. 7th and 8th position. Medium Perpetuum in behind though. Looking all of the back of Bullet Boy. But Bullet Boy is doing a really good job at this point to try and fend them off.
Yes, I think the Bullet Boy's being helped by the fact that he's just staying within DRS range of Venoms at the moment. So maybe Perpetuum, they'll have all practiced, they'll all know what this circuit is like in these temperatures, with the dirty air, with the tyres getting worn out. I think we've said it enough. He knows it's not really worth ruining his tyres at the moment to go for a move. Venoms is either going to get out of the way in the next 5 or 6 laps by pitting, or just pulling away for Bullet Boy. Then it's for chance for Perpetuum to maybe make the move. Volbeek has come into the pit, so onto a set of hard tyres. He'll be comfortably going towards the end of the race. He might come out right in the middle, though, of that queue that's currently being led by Noon.
He's going to come out, actually, in perfectly clear air. Laser now down the inside line, just in behind on Noon. Oh, and they're going to make contact through turn 1. Noon hangs around the outside. Brilliant defensive driving from Noon, but now the Brit right on the back as he comes through turn 3. Watch out for Verstappen and Lando in behind as well. Verstappen's got a good run out coming out through turn 3. Pretty much even going through the first sector split, and it's still Noon in 13th, Laser 14th, Verstappen in 15th, but now look at the train developing in behind. We've got Lando on that and Hardy on that as well, so add into that 3 XL drivers, a TTG driver and a QVR man. It's like EML all over again, to be honest.
It is indeed, and a bit like EML League 1. There's currently a XL driver in the lead of it at this moment in time with Noon. You'd expect Volbeek just to maybe pull away based on the pace earlier on and having the slightly fresher tyres. Venom's not pulling away as much as I'd have liked, so this, as he'd have liked, I should say. So this 2-stop strategy really not working out for these guys, because Matthias as well, he's stuck behind Recon. He closed onto the back of the AlphaTauri pretty quickly, but there's definitely not no inter-team orders here between Red Bull and AlphaTauri. The junior team quite happy being ahead at this moment in time. They're now in 9th and 10th. We've seen Venom and Carlsby both coming to the pits as well. They'll be going on to a set of hard tyres.
The R&D, Perpetuum now on Bullet Boy for net second position, down and towards turn 1. Perpetuum through and he's into 5th position. Look at the cloud cover though, beginning to develop over the track. It's certainly not going to rain, I don't think, towards the end of the race. Bullet Boy now being disclosed of by Perpetuum and he's through and he's up into 5th position. Looking at the track temperature as well. Air temperature cooling down, it's 25 degrees. It was 26 the last time I looked. It's 33 degrees track temperature. And this is why these guys are putting in so early out on track, I think, especially in terms of the medium runners. Venom's is getting away from Perpetuum, but I would have imagined that gap to be at least 2 seconds by now. It's 1.2 seconds. Perpetuum hanging on in there, and it just comes to show, I think we're nearing the crossover point where the hards are quicker than the mediums.
Yes, last lap from Venom's, it was a 117.978. You compare that to a 118.1 from Perpetuum and a 118.2 from Bullet Boy and Mishiro. He's not really gaining anything at this moment in time, so it wouldn't surprise me if this lap, the time that Perpetuum set, especially now that he's had that nice bit of DRS into turn 1, might be about equal. Overtaking could have just cost him ever so slightly, and when Venom's pits, as things stand, he'd pretty much come out in last place. He'd be on a really good set of the medium tyres, or maybe even a set of the soft tyres. If he can get these mediums to stretch far enough, he is going to find it hard though to work his way up into the top 10. Medium Pilot though doing a pretty good job on those hards at the moment, actually setting faster times than Perpetuum and Bullet Boy. He's loving it now that he's got a bit of free air. He seems to have got the tyre temperatures just under control a bit more.
He has indeed, and look at Volbeek now beginning to close up on Matthias. It's 1.9 seconds back gap, and he is really beginning to try and hammer in on this Red Bull. This Red Bull, of course, on the back of Recon, the two sister cars, of course, ahead. The AlphaTauri now going to be named... No, they're not going to be named differently, are they? I was thinking, oh my god. Yeah, just ignore me. Matthias in the Red Bull against the Recon and Mishima, of course, and the AlphaTauri's Recon. Another 3 second time, but he picked up from Recon. He's just picking them up on silly parts of the circuit, and now Matthias has just picked up a 3 second time, pulling behind me, right on board with him, coming wide out of turn 9, and that's where he picked it up. So Matthias now still 9th, Recon and 8th, Mishima there in 7th position. When are we going to see these hard runners into the pit lane? Because Medium Pilot, Ciappellelli, I'm a D are still continuing on. They've gone on their 16th, 17 laps now on a set of hards. They're going to be trying, surely, to try and go a set of softs towards the end.
It's possible. I mean, Medium Pilot at the moment, his tyres aren't looking too... They're all looking a very similar set of tyres. If they're going to go onto a set of mediums, I think it's going to be in the next 2 laps we'll see them go into the pits. Not this one, but probably lap 18 or 19. If they're going onto the softs, they're going to have to get them into the mid-20s. And as further back, Lando's managed to get his way ahead of Verstappen. He's loving himself at the moment in his debut this season. Gets up into 13th. Has he just compromised his line ever so slightly? No, he can keep it nice and tight if Verstappen just losing out in the dirty air. So Lando now up into 13th with slightly fresher tyres than those ahead. Perpetuum, Bullet Boy, Mishiro, all these on the hards, they've just got to hope that when Media Pilot pits, he comes out a few cars down and has to work his way up the order. Likewise with Ciappellelli. Otherwise, what we saw Mark said in the chat earlier, he could just blitz his way through the field and end up taking another victory.
He could just blitz his way through the field indeed. Yeah, Medium Pilot 2.7 seconds ahead of Ciappellelli at this point. Lando really on the back though of Laser, just in front of Matt on track. He has got a penalty to his name. Let's have a look then at the penalties to the name. There it is on the left hand side. 3 seconds Ciappellelli, 3 seconds Venom, 6 and 6 for Matthias and Recon respectively, 3 for Lando and 3 for Carsby. So actually, around a track where I thought there was going to be a lot of penalties being picked up, there's not many at all, which is really good to see, and it comes to show everyone is keeping within the white lines. The cloud is still building over this circuit, not enough to produce any rain clouds, unfortunately. Now Lando was going to try and laser, but Laser is going to try and shoot down Noon, running down in towards turn 1. Has he got the sniper eye? No, he hasn't. Noon stays in front, and he's still in 11th position. Hardy challenging Verstappen, though, just in behind as well.
Yeah, Hardy not able to get close enough to Verstappen. Verstappen's just running a bit low on DRS for a second there. The camera angle just tricked me. It made it look like Laser was a lot closer to the side of Noon than he really was. He's just stayed behind, though, in 12th place. Medium Pilot's pace, going back to the leaders, has been fantastic since he got in free air. He's about 1.2, 1.3 seconds ahead of Ciappellelli. I should say, before we saw Volbeek coming to the pits, he's now stretched it out to 3.2 second. So Medium Pilot doing a fantastic job. Will we see him come in this lap to go on to the set of mediums? No, we will not. I think he is going to try and stretch it that little bit longer, where the Chapalele, he's fed up with these hard tyres. He wants some fresh tyres, and he is really going to be close to coming out in that train. Almost as close as he was to coming into the pit wall, Ben.
Goodness me, he was really going on thin ice there, I think, with not hitting that pit wall coming into the pit lane. The Chapalele now onto a set of mediums, you would imagine here. Yep, yellow wall tyre is out. C2 compound, of course. And Chapalele's now out on track. He's going to come right out in this mix with Laser, Lando, Verstappen and the likes. They're going to go to the right-hand side of your screen. Noon and Laser are coming through shot. And in fact, he's just joined ahead of these guys as Laser tries to go down the inside of Noon through turn 1, then through turn 2. Not sure which side he's on, but he's through. Laser is through and he's in for 11th position on 10-lap old hard compound tyres. Noon is going to try to switch back. Coming down in towards turn 4, but it should remain as they are, and they do. Laser through, and he's up into 11th position. Really good, but he's got a massive train in behind. Noon, Lando, Verstappen, Hardy, Carlsbury trying to launch it down the inside as well on Hardy. A little bit of a tap there from Carlsbury on the back of Hardy, but these 6 now separated by 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds out on track. You can throw a blanket all over them.
Yes, you can indeed. Chapalele is going to escape from the blanket, though, pretty quickly on those medium tyres. It's almost like Laser and Noon. I think Laser went for the move, and Noon would have maybe been able to defend a bit harder. I think he got a bit spooked maybe by Chapalele coming out the pit lane, which can happen sometimes when you've got so much more momentum than the car ahead. And Chapalele, you're always a bit cautious for that first braking zone on a fresh set of tyres, because you've got used to braking at the same point and just pushing it back by maybe a metre or so every lap to account for the tyre wear. And then when you're on fresh tyres, you're never quite sure how they're going to be out to that first braking zone. So no, just think taking it a bit cautious to make sure he didn't end up accidentally piling it into the back of Chapalele. Great move from Laser round the outside. We've seen plenty of the moves, cars being able to hang it off, and it almost looked for a second as though Lando was thinking about making a move as well.
Yeah, he looked hot. He had a half look going down towards turn 1. Didn't complete the move. He stays in behind, and that is crucial, I think, for Noon's chances to try and get away. These two, of course, are teammates. They're probably in the same party at this point. I would imagine, though, there's going to be no love lost if these two battle out on track. The cloud is still building, though, over the circuit. Verstappen, Hardy, Carlsbury, then Venom, then Cohen for 17th and 18th. Then Medium Pilot, though, will ride on board with him, as I'm expecting him to come into the pit lane, probably on this lap to respond to Chapalele coming in, who was in behind. Medium Pilot, you would imagine, is coming into the pits. Perfect from the commentator. He predicts something right this time. Medium Pilot is into the pit lane. Can he get the car stopped? Yes, he can. He's now into the pit lane to go on to a set of mediums to the end of the race.
Yes, Amade coming in as well. So that is now everyone making their one and only compulsory pit stops. These will be both onto the mediums, and that now puts Venoms into the lead of the race. He's surely going to have to pit again, though. He's on 60% on those medium tyres. They are not lasting until the end of the race, unless an absolute miracle happens. They'll be driving on rims at the end. Chapalele with the fastest lap of the race. Medium Pilot, you'd expect, will manage to come out comfortably ahead of him, but he's now in this train. He has got a lot of fresh tyres, but seeing as Recon's got DRS, Majiro's got DRS, Bullet Boy has also got the DRS, it might be a bit difficult for him to overtake. He's just got to try and play it nice and carefully and not lose patience, as Carlsbury has had it off coming through turn 2. He is able to continue, though, drops down into 17th position and has big damage on his front wing.
Yep, right side end plate, no, left side end plate damage, in fact, from Carlsbury out on track. It looks like he probably got caught on the curb, I would imagine, coming through turn 1 and 2, but now Recon and Medium Pilot, these two old warriors back in the day of TTL, are now going to do battle possibly down in towards turn 10, but Recon hangs on for 5th, Medium Pilot in 6th, but you would imagine that Medium Pilot is just laughing in the mirrors of Recon at this stage, thinking, when are you going to let me through, or when am I going to get past? Because Medium Pilot is all over the back of these guys. By the way, I just thought I'd mention, I'm not looking too bad for my prediction currently. Perpetuum, Mashiro, Medium Pilot, they can make their way through the field, I think, here. Especially Medium Pilot. I hope he finishes 3rd as opposed to finishing in 1st position where I'm expecting him to be. But now he's on the back of Recon, as Recon now closes down on Mashiro as well. But is Medium Pilot going to go for the move down the inside? He's going to be very late on the brakes. That camera angle is absolutely shocking. He forced him right wide through turn 1. Recon hangs on, and Recon's still stern, and he's still in 5th position as Lando was through on Noon for 10th.
Yeah, Lando getting ahead of Noon. Matthias is now coming to the pits. He is down in 17th place after his pit stop. last but one at the moment, so that gives you an idea how this medium strategy is working. As we've just seen as Carlsby retires from the pits, as we've seen from medium pilots, it's not the easiest circuit to get an overtake on. He almost gets alongside Recon into turn 7 here. All this defending is just going to lose Recon a lot of time as medium pilot has a huge moment through 7 and 8 at this moment in time. That allows Recon just to have a bit of breathing space. The Alpha Tauri driver, though, is struggling on his ERS at the moment, and that might make the difference this time around. Medium pilot, I think, will be able to get the move done into turn 1 on this occasion.
Yeah, he had about as many U's within that huge that you just mentioned there in that spin as what I've ever seen anybody do in league racing, to be honest. But medium pilot now on the back of Recon as he now comes through the final corner. Recon just getting caught on the bump there on the curve. You saw it to the the right hand side as he came through, and now medium pilot is surely going to pull out of the slipstream and try and get this move done. Chapelani and Volbeek are side by side just in the back end of shot as well. Recon gives a little bit of a warning shot. Medium pilot says, no, thank you very much, I'm coming through. Recon fires back, fires him into the gravel almost. Recon hanging tough, hanging firm. Bit questionable, to be honest, but he's still in 5th.
I've no idea how Recon managed to hold on to that position. And if anything, Media Pilot thought the move was done. I saw him go off of overtake, and then Recon was like, well, I'm still alongside you here. I'm going to fight tooth and nail. Fair play to him for doing that. And that's all of a sudden brought Shapalele right onto the back of Media Pilot. That 3-second gap before the pit stops is now half a second courtesy of the undercut. He nearly went back up to 3 seconds then as Shapalele, copying what Media Pilot did the lap before. This will be frustrating, Media Pilot, and the longer it goes on, the easier it gets for those in front. The tyre delta will just close ever so slightly every single lap. I'd expect Media Pilot to have the faster tyres right until the end of this race, but it will just get a little bit harder and harder. With 10 and a bit laps remaining, then Venom's still going on that set of the medium tyres, and whether he's hoping for a safety car or some rain even, because it still does look pretty overcast at the moment, I'm not quite sure. Medium Pilot a bit further back this time around, not able to get that move done.
Yeah, Perpetuum closing on. Venom's running down in towards turn 1. It's now right on the back, so we have got a 7-way, 8-way dandy possibly for the lead of this race. Venom's now leading from Perpetuum 2nd, Bullet Boy 3rd, Machiro 4th, Recon 5th, Medium Pilot in 6th. But as you say, the more that Medium Pilot is held up behind Recon and Machiro just in front, the less opportunities he's going to get to try and get the overtakes done. It's one thing to get onto the back of a driver around this track, it's another thing to try and overtake, and that's exactly what we're seeing. As the laps go on, I think I'm getting more comfortable possibly in terms of my prediction, to be honest, out on track. Venom's leading though, Perpetuum in 2nd. Venom's is still going there out on track. That front left looks absolutely shot to the bone. If he doesn't pit in now, I think he'll get a puncture within 3 laps.
I'd go even further than that. If he doesn't pit in now, it won't surprise me if he gets a puncture next time around. There's so many long left-handers from here, it could pop at any moment, a la Hamilton and Bottas at Silverstone. So I think we'll see the Mercedes taking a very tight line, heading into the pit. He'll be going onto the soft, so he'll be lightning fast, as there's currently a battle going on for last place. Matthias getting ahead of Cohen Lige, and again Medium Pilot, all of a sudden he can't get close enough through the final corner to get that move done. Has he just overheated the tyres ever so slightly and now has to relax all of a sudden? He'll be feeling pretty frustrated. He'll jump Recon obviously because of penalties, but the top 3 at the moment have kept it nice and clean. I'll just check how many warnings they are on. It is 2 warnings for Perpetuum, only 1 though for Bullet Boy and Machiro, so they're, you'd say almost certainly, unless they start pushing a bit too hard, Bullet Boy and Machiro probably won't pick up a penalty in this race.
Well, they are on the older tyres, of course, and looking at Machiro, he's got 60% worn, Bullet Boy's got 64% worn, so it's going to be fascinating to see how this race is going to unfold. There's Medium Pilot close up now, coming through turn 9. Recon just looks like he can take that flat out compared to Medium Pilot, and just look, Recon just gets away by 2.5 tenths, now 3 tenths of a second. In fact, he goes so late, he nearly outruns himself, and now Medium Pilot has got a great run, coming through turn 11 and then 12. Look at Chapelelli and Volbeek getting involved in this as well. We're beginning to see this split up, maybe in through a battle between the top 4, and then 5th down to 8th. So it's going to be fascinating to see. 5th down to 7th, I should say. Perpetuum leading, Bullet Boy 2nd, Machiro 3rd, Recon in 4th, Medium Pilot in 5th, and now Medium Pilot is not close enough still onto the back of Recon to try and get a move. It's Recon that's in the DRS, but now Medium Pilot is going to try and close in. Is it going to be down this time? This time in towards turn 1, the racing point against the AlphaTauri. He still hangs on, Recon. He doesn't give up without a fight now. Switch it back through turn 3. Chapelani's on the inside line. Chapelani gets cut up and gets one ride by Medium Pilot. Medium Pilot now 5th. Chapelani just got cut up. I don't think he realised, to be honest, he was on his inside. But Medium Pilot through into 5th. Chapelani's also positioned down into 7th. He goes. He hasn't lost much time, but it's going to knock his confidence a lot.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of wishful thinking from Chapelani. You see a gap sometimes and you go for it, even though you know 99 times out of 100 that gap was closing, because Medium Pilot was not expecting Chapelani to go for the move. Thankfully, it didn't cause a spin for either of them. Chapelani has lost a position to Volbeat, and Medium Pilot is still in 5th place. Recon looking very good on the brakes into that turn 1 chicane. He's starting all this defending though. He's now about 8 to 9 tenths behind Bashiro, which means I think that's why he was going faster through some of these medium speed corners, because he's not being affected by the dirty air too much. But one more mistake, he'll drop outside of DRS range and Medium Pilot might just be able to get him. And this looks like the closest the Racing Point driver has been for a while, but now he's starting to run low on his DRS as well.
No, I think he's further actually away from Recon than he was last time around. So Recon still stays in 4th, Medium Pilot in 5th, and as you mentioned, yeah, his ERS is running really low out on track. It's going to be fascinating to see how this race is still going to unfold. Venoms just pops in the fastest lap of the race at 1:16.9. He could be on for the fastest lap point currently. Medium Pilot, though, on the back of Recon. Lap 27 out of 33. It's overcast now out on track. I don't think we're going to see any rain. If we do, it's going to be right at the end of the race if needs be. But Perpetum leading from Bullet Boy in 2nd. In the meantime, Venoms and Venom are going side by side. This is a bit of a mouthful to say, but Venoms is through on Venom, and he's through up to 14th. No surprise.
Yeah, he's through up to 14th. It wouldn't surprise me if he catches onto the back of Verstappen. He's going to have so much quicker tyres at the moment. And when he catches up to Verstappen, he's on the back of the train, which is currently being led by XL Lando, doing a pretty good job on his debut this season so far. In 8th position, yes, he's managed to pick up 3 seconds of penalties, so he will drop down the order, but he has shown some pretty good pace. And Medium Pilot, again, all over the back of Recon into the chicane. He'll lose a bit of time in the dirty air. Recon running wide over that curve. This is definitely the closest he has been. He's going to have to go down the inside once more, because Recon seems determined to stick to the racing line. Can Medium Pilot just get onto the back of Recon? He's going to have to do this purely on the brakes here into turn 1. And it just doesn't look like he's got the confidence all of a sudden to go down the inside. Has he just worn those tyres a bit too much in this early stage? He's still only on 30% for the front left compared to Recon on 61%, so you'd think he'd have a lot more braking performance. Maybe just he's been stung too many times by not being able to get the move done.
I think he knows that Recon is a very hard defender as well. We've seen him in the past here in TTML, and indeed in TTL and its old iteration, that Recon likes to defend hard, he likes to defend heavy, and Medium Pilot cannot find a way through. And the more that this is losing him the opportunity, the more that is letting possibly Mashiro get onto the back of Bullet Boy for 2nd position as well. They're all going to be within that DRS train, so it's going to be difficult to overtake. But we have got a 7-way battle, possibly, for the win here tonight. Perpetum, Bullet Boy, Mashiro, Recon, Medium Pilot, Volbeat and Chapelani. We've got 5 laps to go, and Medium Pilot just setting it up now into 13, now into 14, 15, 16. If I was Medium Pilot, I'd be trying to be a bit unorthodox, to be honest, out on track. Again, he's just lost more time to Recon coming out the final corner, and Mashiro has got a great run out on Bullet Boy. Is he going to try and close up enough down in towards turn 1? I don't think so, but Bullet Boy is going to try and get Perpetum down in towards turn 1. No, Perpetum now hanging on by an absolute thread. Bullet Boy still in 2nd. Volbeat's now onto the back of Medium Pilot for 5th.
Yes, I agree with what you're saying about Medium Pilot. I'd be thinking right now, I've tried it into turn 1 multiple times. It hasn't worked. Turn 10's the other DRS zone. The only other real heavy braking zone on this circuit is turn 5, and even then you've got to rely on a bit of luck just coming through turn 4, because there he's able to close up a lot on the brakes. He just can't do anything with it at the moment. This Recon having the DRS has really messed up this alternate strategy for him, and I wonder if he's thinking, would I be better staying out a bit longer, going onto a set of soft tyres, or coming in a lap or two earlier and not coming out behind this many cars, because that is what costing him at the moment. He clearly had the pace, and now Volbeat's catching up, and Chapelani sent one up the inside at turn 10. Fantastic move, Volbeat. I don't think was expecting that. There was a bit of contact, but they say Rubbin's racing at times. Maybe the Media Pilot was looking in his mirrors. Maybe he might have seen that and think, right, that's how I need to attack. If Recon's defending hard, I need to fight fire with fire.
He does need to fight fire with fire, and Chapelletti now fights fire with fire, but get onto the back of Medium Pilot as well, running down the straight. We've got 4 laps to go. Can the German get the Brit down in towards turn 1? Medium Pilot pulls the inside line. Chapelletti not going down that inside line, and he's not going to commit to move, and he stays in 6th position. Venom's again sets a new fast start for the race. I think it's a bit wishful thinking, to be honest, to try and think he's going to catch Verstappen towards the end of the race, but Tice in the meantime going side by side with Venom down in towards turn 1, and there is the Red Bull passing the Renault as we go on board. So Matthias Thurin's up into 15th, Venom Thurin's up into 16th, but Perpetuum 20 lap tyres. Bullet Boy 22 lap tyres, Mashiro 21 lap tyres, Recon on 20 tyres, and then Medium Pilot's just picked up a 3-second time penalty on 8 lap old tyres on that mediums, but Chapelletti on the back of him. Volby just ran wide there, slightly coming out, and now Chapelletti going to try it down the inside of Medium Pilot. He is! He dives it down the inside line. Medium Pilot was not expecting that in the slightest. A little bit of contact racing is rubbing, and Volby has got around the outside through turn 11, now through turn 12. It's great stuff on Volby if you can hang it up, but now Chapelletti trying to go around the outside of turn 13. This is side-by-side action between the Dutchman. Chapelletti picks up a 3-second time penalty. He hangs it on in there, and that was inevitable. The run down to 14. A little bit more wishful thinking, I think, from Chapelletti. He tries to go for the move. He should have backed out, I think. It would have still been clean. Volbeats through the 6th. Chapelletti just ruined his own chance, possibly, for a possible top 5 finish, and now he's down into 12th.
Yeah, such a shame for Chapelletti. Again, just getting involved in these incidents. You could argue that Volbeat shoved him wide coming through that chicane the first part, but Volbeat could say, I'm just taking the racing line, and that is not an overtaking point on the outside, and he'd probably have a really good point about that. Volbeat, though, looking not bad at the moment with no penalties and fresher hards than those ahead. Bullet Boy, 84% on that front left tyre, and he's got 2.5 laps to go. I can't see him making it.
I can't see him making it either. 84% on that tyre. Honestly, he is going to be so lucky if he gets towards the end of this race. This cloud is really not helping. These hards begin to warm up. Volby just picked up a 3-second time, and now Medium Pilot on the back of Recon, trying to get the move done, not quite. If I told you that the top 12 out on track were separated, as I moved the wrong thing, by 6.9 seconds, I'd be having you on. But honestly, it's true. 6.9 seconds separating the top 12 out on track. That is how close we are still here with 2 laps to go, with Perpetuum leading, Bullet Boy second, Mashiro in third.
Yeah, I think part of that's just how carefully Perpetuum's having to drive. Lando, a few laps ago, was about 7 or 8 seconds behind the lead of this race. He's now 3 seconds behind, all of a sudden, and he's in DRS range of Volbeat. Verstappen picks up a penalty. Bullet Boy can't get close enough to the back of Perpetuum just because if he hits the brakes a bit too hard, that front left tyre, all the air inside it, it's just going to say, see you later, sunshine, and disappear. Bachiro's ran a bit wide, coming through turn 3 there. Recon not able to get close enough. Medium Pilot closing up then onto the back of Recon. You get a funny feeling something's going to explode here. It might be Bullet Boy's front tyre, it might be something else. Something is going to happen in this final 1.5 laps.
I'm watching that task system, honestly, and looking at Bullet Boy's tyres, and I have a feeling it's going to puncture onto the final lap of the race. Possibly, I think, down in towards turn 5, out on track. If I predict that going forward, thank goodness me, just call me Mystic James. Betam leading from Bullet Boy second, Mashiro in third. Bullet Boy's tyres, 88%. 2 fat ladies out on track for Bullet Boy's tyre on that front left. The front left does literally take the hammering around here, but it looks like he's getting the second win. He's now right on the back of Petam, challenging possibly for a race win. Is he going to try it, or is he going to try it with his tyres possibly popping onto the final lap? It's 89% onto the final lap of the race. Medium Pilot is now nearly side by side on Recon, running down in towards turn 1. Can Recon just pull out a little bit more of an advantage? He can. Recon pulls away from Bullet Boy, and now Bullet Boy dives it down the inside, goes around the outside. Is he going to take the lead? No way. Perpetum's got a 3-second time penalty, but Perpetum's back through. Bullet Boy has got to keep that tyre fresh, and he's now going to try and have a crack at Perpetum. He wants this out on track. He dives it down the inside. Is he going to try and look it in there? They're still side by side, but Perpetum hangs on. Bullet Boy should not risk this because of his tyre. It's still somehow going. That's turn 5 through turn 6. I can't believe that tyre is still going out on track. It's 90% worn. Perpetum still leading the way, and Medium Pilot still can't find a way on Recon as Volbeat and Lando are briefly side by side.
Yeah, it's getting very close all of a sudden here. Lando's going to have a try at Volbeat. Bullet Boy's just too far behind. He's got to think about saving it. Medium Pilot not able to get alongside Recon.
His tyre's going to go.
Mashiro and Laser's tyres are pretty in a bit of trouble as well. Any one of them could go on the final lap. It looks like Perpetuum's going to win on track. Will Bullet Boy has tie his last, and will he be able to take this victory?
Way. This is unbelievable. Perpetuum around the final corner. He is going to win out on track. He's pulling away through the final corner. Perpetuum is going to win out on track, but it's Bullet Boy. How on earth has he got those tyres to the end? That is absolutely unbelievable. Bullet Boy has won. Mashiro was second. Perpetuum's third. Laser in fourth. As Yellow Flag in second. 3 medium. Pilot across the line in fifth in the end. Volbeek, Hardy, Lando, Noon, Imad, Recon, Schiaparelli, Verstappen, Venom, Matthias, and Cohen across the line to finish in 17th position. Absolutely unreal racing. How on earth has Bullet Boy won that with 92% worn tyres? I do not know. Driver of the D is somehow Imad out on track, but goodness me, Bullet Boy has won 92% worn tyres. How on earth has he done that?
Fantastic. Sometimes, once you get above 75% on this game, you're in the lap of the gods, and they were clearly shining on Bullet Boy today. He didn't have a choice to carry on, though. You said it yourself. The top, 12 was it? Were separated by 7 seconds. You pit at that point. You're basically admitting defeat, so he might as well have carried on. He went for that move on Perpetuum. He got a penalty. I didn't quite see whether there was any argy-bargy there. I imagine Perpetuum might take it to the stewards to say he was shoved off track. But a fantastic victory from Bullet Boy. His and Mashiro's first podiums of the season. And Perpetuum with another podium. Good job from him. I don't think... I'm going to try and do quickly some maths here. Actually, I think with that pole position earlier, he will actually take the lead of the championship by just 1 point.
Yeah, looking at it, it's 71 points for Perpetuum, 70 for Medium Pilot. Yeah, so you passed your GCSE maths. I can tell, Luke. I wouldn't have done that, to be honest. But a point is the gap from Perpetuum down to Medium Pilot. Anyways, Bullet Boy has won. From Mashiro in second, Perpetuum in third, Laser in fourth, Medium Pilot 14th on the grid up to fifth. Good drive from him. With Volbeek sixth, Hardy seventh, Lando in eighth, Noon in ninth, Imad 10th. Recon in 11th. Top 11 are separated by just over 10 seconds. Schiaparelli 12th, Verstappen, Venom, Matthias, Cohen all finished. Carlsbury didn't, and neither did Dobby, who apparently had controller issues. That's why he retired on lap 1. So Dobby out of the race very early on with controller issues. He's down there in 19th position and didn't finish. I think fastest lap as well, if I'm not mistaken, out on track went to... Matthias, 1:16.458.
Yeah, good. Tried that alternate strategy to Matthias and Venoms. It didn't quite work out going for the 2-stop, which I think it might have worked out if there'd been a wider gap in the field, but they were always coming out in traffic, so a shame for those guys. Bullet Boy saying himself he was just praying that those tyres wouldn't pop. I'm still not quite sure how they didn't, but they didn't. He ends up taking a well-deserved victory after a bit of bad luck with connections. I don't think any of us actually predicted him to end up finishing on the podium, so he's proved us both wrong.
He has proved us both wrong. Shall we try and get him in?
We shall try.
We shall try indeed. Let's have a look then at what is going to happen, of course, this week coming up on TTML. Tomorrow night, have we got action tomorrow night? I know there's a pre-season race going on which is not going to be streamed. Have we got any action tomorrow night?
I don't believe we have, no. The EML F1 League is yet to start. I think their sign-ups are still open for that. If you're interested in trying out some no-assists league, I think it is just the warm-up race for that next time around, and that league will be starting properly next week on the 10th of February. So it's a night off for the streamers and Tom in the graphics as well.
I think we all need a night off once in a while, honestly. I think it's fantastic to have such great commentary, such great graphics as well. Big thank you to the RGK task system, of course, for really coming in on that. And thank you to everyone that has been supporting us. I see, in terms of the subscribers, we're nearing 830 still. We are on 826. If you want to bring it round to your family and friends, get them to subscribe. Let's please do that, to be honest, and let's see how this is going to go. Amazing Hour was tuning into that comment section quite late on, and that Bullet Boy in the comment section saying he had 93% tyre wear. So that task system's out by 1% in the end. 93% worn tyres. Conti saying, well done to us, and what a race for everyone, of course, out on track. Of course, Thursday is going to be the next action you're going to follow. Division 2 and Division 3. It is Daniel Hoggard and Michael Edwards taking you through Division 2. Division 3 is Aidan Carter and Conti taking you through. And then Friday, it is myself and Paco Suarez for round 3 in Spain at his home track. And then Division 5, of course, is James Boyle-Cadwell, who delivered a really good commentary, of course, in Division 5. We look forward to seeing how he progresses on as one of our new commentators in TTML. Saturday, I think CRC is not running at this moment in time, but there's still commentary slots available. So if you want to be inspired by either myself, Luke, or maybe even Tom in the background, who does like to boss us about with the graphics in the background, then get involved. Get involved here in TTML. And get involved on League Racing TV. Would love to have you as part of the commentary team. And then Sunday, I think we're back at it for TTML F2, if I'm not mistaken, and that is Pepsi Freak and TFI Buck taking you through that one. There we are.
Yeah, I was just having a quick look through the TAS system. With all the craziness that happened, Recon actually finished down in 11th place because of penalties. And if that doesn't say how close it was out on track at the end, I don't know what does.
I don't know what does either. Honestly, really, really great racing. Looking at everyone's best result as well. Mashiro had a 14th place result last time, 2nd place tonight. Laser finishing in 6th last time, 4th, his best result now. And I'm a D, 12th up to 10th, his best result. Worst result, Perpetuum. He finished for the 3rd place. His best was 2nd. So we can't really take that much away from Perpetuum, to be honest. A medium pilot as well. His worst result was a 5th position, and it was 3rd before coming into tonight as well. But honestly, fantastic racing from everyone out on track. Hopefully we're going to see the racing progress forward. Next week, of course, we go to Baku. Baku is a bit like Monaco, I think. It's a real natural street circuit. The old meets the new. And what on earth can we expect around Baku?
Safety cars. Plain and simple. You come up with a plan at Baku, and it's out the window, sometimes by turn 1. Never mind by the end of lap 1. Who knows what can happen. Rain is quite common as well. Unlike most street circuits, definitely, I say there's 4 traditional street circuits on this game. Monaco, you can't pass that. Singapore, it's possible. Whereas Baku and Vietnam have those long straight sections where it's actually pretty straightforward to make an overtake. But because of those long straight sections, you can't go for the Monaco-style setup of just shove as much downforce on as possible because straight line speed is hugely important at Baku and Vietnam. So that is going to be a really, really fascinating race indeed. And there's always a risk of rain as well. I've seen many a wet race at Baku. I think it's personally, in my opinion, the toughest of the street circuits.
It really is. I think it's one of the toughest tracks on the F1 calendar alone as well. And I'm not going to speak about an unfortunate incident that happened about 3 years ago now between me and Tom. But there we are. There we are. Yeah, he's just laughing in the background for anybody that can't hear. But there we are. Hopefully, are we able to get Bullet Boy in?
I'll give him another ping. I have invited him into the party, but
He hasn't been added on my end.
Oh, that is very strange indeed, because on my end I've got Bullet Boy, Mashiro, and Perpetuum in. So who knows what is happening? Who knows?
Oh no, you have. Yeah, you have. It's fine. That's just me. You have.
Panic over.
Hopefully Bullet Boy is able to join. I think I have interviewed him before in League of Europe, so hopefully we'll be able to get him involved in for an interview. If not, then I'm sure we can try and conduct one with him before next week. Yeah, I think we've covered Baku. I'll come to you though, Luke. Who was your driver of the day?
I think I've just. Do you know what? I'm gonna go for Mashiro. Really impressive performance tonight. Really impressive. And I know it's just signed for Shizou in the academy team. We might be sending them a result across. Going, I've beat Recon here. Maybe I could do with bumping up to the main team pretty quickly.
Yeah, honestly, really impressive driver. That was his first race within League Racing with Shizou. He's just outscored a former TTL F1 champion. That's all we can say about that. So well done to Mashiro. I think my driver of the day has to be Bullet Boy, though. Bullet Boy really delivering a fantastic, fantastic race out on track. It was fascinating to see him win the race. 92, 93% ties, however you make it. Fantastic to see, and I'm going to be very impatient by saying I think we should end it here if he's not going to join.
Yeah, I think they're giving us a silent treatment once again, unfortunately.
What is it with us? What is it with us? Honestly, we're not scary people, honestly.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, we're really not scary people, honestly. Well, I can be sometimes, but there we are. That might be because I had a staff development day at work, but there we are. Yeah, I don't think anybody is going to join. I'll keep Discord open just in case, but I think we should end it here. Thank you so much for tuning in to round 3 of TTML Division 1, and of course, please stay safe. Stick to the guidelines as well. Remember Captain Tom Moore, who, of course, has sadly passed away at the age of 100 because of COVID pneumonia. Our thoughts and prayers, and I'm sure all your thoughts and prayers as well, for anybody that's viewed this stream, are to his family and friends at what I'm sure is a really difficult time. Just remember, anything is possible in life. Even if you're a 100-year-old and you just do 100 laps of your garden and you raise £32 million for the NHS. Absolute hero. He will be very, very sadly missed. But I think we should end it there.
I think we shall. It looks like Bullet Boy's too busy breathing heavy at the moment to remember about there. I think he's still recovering from his tyre wear, to be honest.
He's replied in the Discord, but he hasn't joined, which I'm totally... Yeah, I think he doesn't want to talk to us. That's what it is. Unless I'm going to end the stream and now he joins, like, after we end it, and then... Yeah, that's going to be terrible. But that is it for tonight. Please stay safe. Please stick to the guidelines as well. And for the third time, I've been James Head.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Please take care of yourselves, and we will see you next week.
It's true, na na na, everything they say about me. All of you like a supernova, burn into you like a shooting star. If you give me your whole life, I would still have room for more, 'cause I've got that appetite. Baby, I never feel whole. You might get me through the night, but it will never be enough. It will never be enough, 'cause I'm a black girl for your love.
Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some wine. Oh, think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. 'Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your floor. 'Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up and how sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, 'cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your floor. 'Cause I know what you don't, it is me brave, and yeah, I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken, I bet. How sad.
Oh darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours. While